Thinking about my friends, Indie Coffee Coalition, just thinking about the hundreds of thousands of dollars we've saved coffee shop owners just like you, who are not franchisees, who are looking for deals on their fat mix and their energy drinks. Why should the franchises get all the deals, right? Indie Coffee Coalition was built with the idea of saving you, the little guy, tons of cash. So if you're a coffee shop owner, you have 1 to 3 coffee shops, and you're serving blended drinks or energy drinks, we can substantially save you money and keep more money in your pocket. Set up a call. I'd love to talk with you. Indie Coffee Coalition, keeping money in your pocket.
We knew that if this model would work, if we could make this model work that is unique in Southern Oregon, then we could take it anywhere. And we knew we wanted to go big, but if we can't do it at home, if we can't do it in our own backyard, then we're spinning our wheels. So we did. It's been almost 4 years, and it's been so hard, and it's been so much fun. It's been such a joy.
Welcome to the Coffee Experts Club, where we discuss all of the insights, expertise, and drama that goes into making your passion your profession. Our hosts, Aaron, Ben, and Drew, are 3 coffee experts who have taken their coffee experience and turned it into true expertise. They have consulted with major coffee brands throughout the United States and beyond, providing operations expertise and growth strategy for drive-through openings, multiple locations, and everything in between. So brew yourself a cup and hang out a bit with the Coffee Experts Club.
Well, welcome to Coffee Experts Club, everybody. If you're joining for the first time, Coffee Experts Club is some place where we have 35 weeks of content walking people through the A to Z on kicking off your own first coffee drive-through. And then we bring in experts who are badass, who have done it themselves. And CJ McPhail is one of those. I'm excited to have him on today for Coffee Experts Club. So CJ, thanks so much for joining us, man.
You're welcome, man. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah. So CJ, for those of you guys who don't know, Ben and I have got to work with CJ on a couple of grand openings now, and so much vision, so much passion come out of CJ and his wife, Lindsay, with Outsider Coffee. Outsider Coffee has been, I know for Ben and I both, Ben and I have had some conversations on the side about it, of there's a whole inspirational element to Outsider Coffee that's different than a lot of things that we've done. I think that every coffee chain wants to believe they have some credo they live by, or have some mantra that they live from, or mission. But I think that Siege, what you and Lindsay do with creating your own ancillary, Outsider Nation, and what you're doing with the inspirational stuff, and what you're doing with trying to bring people in and using coffee as an introduction conversation starter to awakening people to their own greatness, I feel like is pretty unique to what you do at Outsider. So Siege, you and I have been friends for a long time. First conversation starter that we ever had was around coffee. Excellent mutual friend who actually is now himself in coffee sat us down at lunch and said, "Hey, I want you to meet some friends of mine. They want to start a coffee outfit in Southern Oregon." And I thought to myself, oh no, not Southern Oregon. There's so much freaking coffee in Southern Oregon. And I think you guys caught me on a pretty overwhelmed afternoon, right? So I think I had some guard down on conversations around. You want to talk about that a little bit? What made you think Southern Oregon to start? And then what were your thoughts as we started having a conversation about it?
Well, I mean, the truth is, Lindsay and I have been married for 22 and a half years, and we scouted drive-through locations on our honeymoon. We had this passion for coffee, and life happened. We allowed our fears to kick in. We allowed our money concerns to kick in and all that. And we didn't pull the trigger. But when we decided to, and when we met with you, Aaron, we knew that if this model would work, if we could make this model work that is unique, as you introduced, thank you, in Southern Oregon, then we could take it anywhere. And we knew we wanted to go big, but if we can't do it at home, if we can't do it in our own backyard, then we're spinning our wheels. So we did. It's been almost 4 years. And
crazy 4 years, Siege. Who thought 4 years? Whoa, man. That's huge.
No, it's crazy. And it's been so hard, and it's been so much fun. It's been such a joy.
Yeah. So, I mean, things that I admire and respect from you, and Ben, don't let me dominate. I hog all the time, but like a couple of things that stood out to me about you and wanting to start and starting the way you did was, it's not like this is your first venture, right? This is to many of things that CJ and Lindsay have started together, and something pretty brave too, because not only did you pilot and roll out your first stand and then choose to move across the country and run a remote, but then you opened your second stand from across the country running things remote. And so I would just love for you to talk about, I think you touched on a little bit, like bravery, some of the stuff of like stepping out into things. How did you know it was the right time? And then obviously that was a big choice to take your whole coffee outfit. You moved your roaster and everything, right? Like all the way across the country. Talk to us a little bit about brave big steps. 'Cause I know there are a lot of people that watch that are probably in your same seat of wanting to take that step out into their first new thing, but having all those probably similar fears. You probably hit on a bunch of things that people think through on a daily basis.
Well, for me, my last full-time gig for being an entrepreneur was in a retirement with a retirement company, a really large one. It was a real honor to serve them. I was an executive director for one of their foundations. But what I learned is the residents I worked with that were retired, um, kept coming in my office. I had these really great friendships with the residents I served who were all retired. And they would walk in my office because they've got nothing but time, and they would give me advice, and they would talk to me about life, talk to me about regrets, and they talk to me about joys, talk to me about all that. But one of the things I swear, men, women, all the residents I talked to had in common, they would want to talk to me about was regret. Was not pulling the trigger soon enough. It was wishing that they had done some, now that they know what they know and that they weren't going to die and that the whole world wouldn't come crashing down, which is what you feel, what you think is going to happen if you take a big risk. So they just kept saying this. Now, couple that with the fact that we'd already been, Lindsay and I had wanted to do this for forever, for our whole relationship. And we did it. So risk for us, I'm a Christian, and as a Christian, I just really believe that adventure happens when you risk, and it doesn't happen if you don't risk. It just is boring. You can live a predictable life. You can live a life that is good and nice and maybe, consistent and predictable, but you can't live that life that you watch when you watch Braveheart, when you watch Star Wars and you watch these cool characters kicking ass in the world. And we think, I want to do that. Why we all love those movies and why they sell billions of dollars of tickets, because we all see ourselves in that zone. Lindsay and I just decided, as crazy as we are, and I do think you have to be a little crazy in all seriousness. I know people say that jokingly, but I think we're a little off our rocker in some ways. And I'm okay if people think that because I think it's true. We decided to go for it. Let's actually live an adventure. Let's let our four sons watch. And if we fail, we'll be okay. We'll have a catch. We'll have a family. We have friends. But if we succeed, we're going to blaze paths and we're going to do some things that we both have only dreamt of and give our boys permission and a path to do things that, they want to do and maybe their kids. And I know I'm talking big and grandiose. I really believe it. And that's what drove us to leave South Carolina. It's what drove us to start in one of the busiest coffee drive-through markets in the country per capita.
Right.
Which is crazy. We opened the 90th drive-through in our county, 250,000. If you don't know anything about coffee, even just being a business owner, that's kind of crazy. And we're doing really, really well. It's the fun part. It's because of our customers and our amazing team, but we're doing really, really well. And then we opened another one in Central Point from South Carolina. And now we're signing this week on lease papers on our first South Carolina location. So that courage only comes from this desire to not be mediocre, to not be the old guy going to the young guy saying, don't do what I did. Don't hold back. Don't just add your 401k. Have a 401k, but don't make your life about it.
Right.
Make your life about risk. Make your life about adventure. You'll never regret it. Here we are.
I'm curious what you feel like was while you're doing it, what was the riskier move or what felt more risky? Was it the moving to South Carolina or was it opening the first stand to begin with? Like what was the bigger hurdle that felt like?
Add this in too. You got kicked pretty hard in the nuts kicking off your first stand too, right? Like it wasn't like you just opened the super easy stand and it was like open right up. Like we ended up in the heart of Medford, someplace you guys wanted to be, but it was like historic district leaned into us. They're like, oh, really? You want to do that? And we're like, what did you just say you want me to do? Like kinds of constraints that Ben and I opening 15 locations never saw that you opened up in your first one. So I'm sure there were some things that there's all kinds of interlaced fear. It wasn't like one day CJ got brave and went out and did this really hard thing. It was like, you've been punching at fun, bigger dudes than you for a long time since you kicked this thing off. I'd love to hear all that.
Yeah, I kind of equate. No, I'm an expert at trying to lose, but it feels like starting a business is like losing weight. There's just so many little nuances that you just have to stay consistent with, or it's not going to work. And you're right, to your point. There were so many ass kickings. Sorry for the.
I love it. Ass kickings is exactly what that was. Yes.
Here's a great quick story. The last day of my corporate job, and I had a good job, and I'm not bragging, but I had a really good job. I got paid really well. I had my parking space. I had my own name on my parking space. It was ridiculous. It's what everybody thinks they want, but I had it and it's not what I want. Didn't bring me joy. It brought me stress and a heart attack. So it's not what I wanted. But on the last day, I left the job. I had the celebration with, Ryan Roden. People know him, and lots of friends that met me down. And we had a beer. And then I went over to a City of Medford meeting, the last final public meeting to make sure. And all the city staff had assured Lindsay and I, there's not going to be a problem. We've already approved it. This is a formality. We just need you to show up and say hi. We'll do it. Slam the gavel. You're in. Of course, that's not how it went. And there are like 70, 80 people in the room. And they told me there'd only be like 10 or 12. So I'm like, whoa, like there must be something else on the docket. So I realized soon after I'm sitting there for a while, most of them are there out of opposition to Lindsay and I starting a location at that spot. One guy brought a 3-ring binder, probably 6 inches thick, of research he had done on our logo, on the colors that we were going to use. I mean, and you had public information, you had access to it, and he got it. That's fine. He talked about the reverse R, in a public meeting that we were citing. It was a Russian history lesson about how Russia used the backwards R to incite rebellion. I mean, unbelievable. It really was unbelievable. And the really scary part was the committee actually was listening to this guy until legal counsel finally told the committee, listen, he's entitled to his opinion, this community member, but you can't listen to this. We've already approved this.
Right.
This is freedom of speech that we're talking about. He can have his opinion on a backwards R, but that doesn't stop them from what they're doing. And then the council agreed. I was about having a heart attack. I literally just left my job. Like it's all done. And this thing could have gotten held up again. So to your point, Aaron, yes, it has been a lot of hurdles. The last thing is on our opening day, Aaron, you were there. I think we opened at 7 a.m., maybe 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Got all my buddies there. You're one of them, Aaron. And we're all doing parking duty. We got cones set out and 6 a.m. rolls around. And I am not joking. Not a single car. Nobody, not even one. And then at 6:05, there was like one. And at like 6:10, maybe 3. And by 6:30, I'm crying talking about it, like 200. But even in that first 30 minutes, it was like we were being tested. This thing, like all of our life, all of our savings, all of our energy, everything's been sunk into this thing. And our families all already calling us crazy, some of which were there that morning. And they're awesome, but they were questioning us and we were ready to prove them wrong. And it was like, either right, maybe he was wrong. But by 6:40, 7 o'clock, moving on, that day was just slammed. It was still one of our busiest days of either a location's history that one day. I mean, it was insane. It just was nuts. You guys have done grand openings. I know you've seen bigger grand openings than what we had, but for us and our experience, it was like, wowzers.
You guys had, that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that story. Cause I've never heard you talk about that. Like as far as that 6 a.m., 6:05, but I mean, such a testimony. I feel like if there's a story that captures the journey of CJ and Lindsay McPhail, I feel like that is it, where it's like nothing comes easy. I think people look at your life and they think, wow, they're so successful. They've done some really big things. You guys have rolled out some really big things, successful things that when people hear about them, they're already big and successful. I mean, they don't hear about them down here on the bottom end. You're like, are we going to be able to keep our head above water? Or are we not able to keep our head above water? And I feel like there are times this is just me secretly just closing my heart. I've thought, man, do I want to be this close to Lindsay and Siege? Because I feel like the way that they go through things, if I'm project managing for them, that means I get pulled straight into, man, this is not going to be an easy project because of the way that you guys are cut. But I will say it makes your story so powerful because you guys, that's just one story. I feel like we could tell a dozen stories about the weeks and months that preceded the grand opening, the weeks and months that followed the grand opening, even the weeks and months that preceded the grand opening here in Central Point for your second location, things that you just think, no, that's a slam dunk. That's an open and closed book. Things as simple as a POS system, like things that you're like, no, we don't have those problems. They've sorted all these things through clearly. And it's like, not for CJ and Lindsay, they haven't. Cause I'm telling you what, if anybody's going to have something to struggles with it, it's going to be CJ and Lindsay. But I feel like that's what makes you be such a badass. So maybe talk about that just a little bit.
Well, dude, it is. And I'm glad you're sitting there and thank you. I mean, of course you would, but I want people to know that it's worth it, but it's not, but it's not hard. So don't do it. It's hard and it's worth it. So that's a different message to me. And it is hard, but my gosh, our marriage has grown so much. How I view my kids, the time I have with my sons is exponential compared to what I had. I used to ask permission to go to a 30-minute end of year concert with my youngest son and hope that they would let me,
Right.
versus now I just go. I mean, of course I'm going to go. I get there early and I stay late, go out to dinner afterwards, and that's not true of copy necessarily. It's true of being an entrepreneur, but
Yeah.
you can't price tag on that stuff. And that's what the residents that I referred to earlier, I think that's what they were trying to get across to me. There's more to life than that 401k. So yeah, we have had to bump our heads on everything. And the truth is, and I like telling people this because I think people feel pressure to know everything. We knew next to nothing, Ren, and you are a testament to that. I mean, remember in our first location, I didn't know that we didn't have an accountant. I didn't know even where to start with an accountant. I mean, you just go hire one. I don't know. What do you look for in a good accountant? I don't know. Nice person. I mean, what do you do? So I'm just saying, we truly started there 4 years ago. That's where we were. But what we had, and the one thing is our mission. And our mission continues to be the thing that drives us in ways that I never could have imagined. And now it's really, especially with our first location in South Carolina, it is really coming home. And it's probably the thing I'm most proud of. It's not all the stuff we talked about. That's all great, but Lindsay gets most of credit anyway, not me. But our mission statement, it is the thing, it is our crown jewel of our lives, of our business, of our family, is our crown jewel. And being able to try and live through that, and reimagine what's next through that lens is it's a lot of fun.
Dude, tee that up. I mean, you just set the whole thing up. How could we not go there next? Yes, we want to hear that. Yes, please. I'm looking for the call to action button. I'll take, yes, I'll buy that. Yes, I'll buy that. Go ahead. Tell me about it.
So it took us about 3 months to write our mission. And we had good people in our lives. We're so blessed to have good people in our lives. Truly, like amazing. And they poured into us because we asked them to. And one of the things they told us is you really got to have a mission that matters. It can't just be technically, legally, I think you're supposed to have some form of mission. I think technically the federal government wants to see some, and it can be, we serve great coffee. That can be mission, but you do have to have some. Well, that's not how we want to function. That's how we want to operate. So it took about 90 days to write our mission. And it was a hard exercise because we both had to agree, which isn't always easy. Lindsay's passionate and a bulldozer, and I am too, but in a different way. And we had to come to terms on this. And once we did, I mean, we literally cried. It was just emotional. It's emotional to read out loud. And 4 years later, it still feels that way. It's not that I cry when I read it, but I feel like this surge in my gut. Like I feel that. Our mission is to wake people up to their greatness through inspirational calls to action, so our customers can love themselves and their community. And that first part is what most people know, is to wake people up to their greatness. But we really, really take that seriously, even down to be specific. It is our mission that determined our first location in South Carolina. There were other sites that were better, a little bit more expensive, but not too much. But they didn't allow us to meet our mission the way that we wanted to. So we went to a site, for example, the site that we have now is about 27,000 cars. We have a site that we could have pulled the trigger on with 40,000, another one with like 34,000. And they're great sites. And some business people might go, what the beep are you thinking? Why? But our mission said, no. First of all, the site that we pulled the trigger on is near our own kids. That matters to us. The site that we're pulling the trigger on is a community that hasn't had anything like this. It's people that aren't too far from where we live, and they really want us to be part of their lives. And we already are. And our mission starts to then get intertwined in all that. Yeah. Then it really starts to matter. So if I'm proud of anything in what we've done, really proud, it's our mission. When we hire a manager, train our team, we talk about our mission. We really flesh it out, what it is and what we expect. We'll fire you instantly if we believe you're not meeting our mission. We'll give you many, many chances otherwise. And almost anything else you mess up in, but mess up on our mission, really, really wrong someone intentionally, and you're out. So it drives everything. And our team knows it, and we do our best to live it. We aren't perfect. We make mistakes for sure, but that is the thing that I'm most proud of. That is the thing that even now, living across the country, the hardest thing we do is managing a business across the country. But the best thing we do is have a mission that allows that hardship to be a lot easier than it would be otherwise.
It's the filter that you take everything through, right? Like that's the decision filter is how's it meet your mission. And I think that's what's intended to be. And I think that obviously
Yep.
you guys represent that so well, not only like publicly, right? Anybody that watches you on Instagram and Facebook and all the places that you guys are appearing, LinkedIn, all the places socially, obviously we see you from the outside, but it's awesome to hear that that's the core also from the inside too, that all your employees and everything are also taken through not only your decisions, but also their decisions, and that it all chimes back the same way. I think that's powerful.
Well, when you have a bad day, and you do, and we've had plenty this month already, honestly, not bad days for us, but just bad days. We're like, man, I didn't see that coming. That piece of equipment shouldn't have broke that fast, that kind of stuff. It's even in those moments, it's your mission that kind of gets you through it.
Yeah.
Liz and I often go back and, we have a phrase for ourselves that helps us get through as a couple. People ask how you work together. We work well together because we have this phrase that we use with one another when things get hard. And Lindsay will just say, Siege, we're doing it. And I know that sounds insignificant on the outside, and I'll say to her, but babe, we're doing it, but we're still doing it. We're in it. Like, we're doing it. There's a lot to be proud of in that, despite the ice machine breaking and despite the manager being sick and the other manager being sick and nobody covered the shift and we're shutting down early, et
Yeah.
cetera. Those little things that can feel monumental, we're still doing it. So, for us, that has been really, really helpful. And I would wish on any business, whether they've been in business for 50 years or 5 weeks, to really take the time they need with the mission they have and
Yeah.
decide what that is. And that will help you rise above profit. Profit's critical. I'm not afraid to talk about money and making good money. But that, at the end of the day, even for most people, statistically, that's not what drives them. It is being a part of something bigger than themselves that drives them. That can be a religious thing for them. That can not, it doesn't matter. But generally speaking, as human beings, we want to be part of something bigger. And if you don't have a mission, I don't know how you are. And if it doesn't evoke emotion, you read it or say it, or you can't wait to tell somebody it, I don't think you're where you want to be. That's not a judgment. It's just an opportunity. Like, let's get there. And that's what we're doing. And that's what I'm most proud of it outside. That's why I'm so excited to grow and expand in the South and expose people to our mission, get our teams excited out here and ready. We've already got 3 or 4 people we've been interviewing and talking to. I mean, it's all like in the works right now. And it's so much fun. And Aaron, you were a big part of that. And I'm not saying that lightly. You were a big part of that. And you believed in us when we weren't sure if we should believe in us. And when you have people like that, and at that time we didn't know you as well, right? I mean, it was pretty new. So when you have people like that in your life, that is gold. Those are the things that you go, and I'm going to try to be more at the end of your life. Those are the things you look back on and celebrate. It's the new revenue.
Yeah.
It's not that you bought 2 vacation homes on the lake and 1 on the coast. I mean, that's all fine. Right. Yay. But that's not it. These things are it. The relationship, people that come into your life because you took the risk, people that you meet along the way that you never know you would even need it. Now you desperately, they're right there.
Yeah.
Dude, what a joy, man. It's just a ride and it's hard, but it's so worth it. So worth it.
I think that listening to you talk, I just think Ben and I have talked to a lot of like successful people. We've led companies for a lot of successful people, like a lot of people making millions of dollars every year. But I think that we haven't talked to nearly as many people who are so centered on why they do what they do. I mean, I think a lot of people experience success and that's why they do what they do, is because they were successful at it. And so they're just chasing the success wheel. But I think just listening to you talk is super inspiring because yes, you guys are successful. Yes, you guys have got a brand. I mean, I don't want to toot your horn and like stroke your ego, but I think like when you say you guys didn't know anything, like you didn't know anything, but it wasn't like you just said, well, let's go find someone that already has something that we can buy and just like backdoor into a franchise. Like you're like, no, let's go start an indie coffee shop. Like that's the hardest thing you can do, right? Not having worked coffee, not having done coffee, like to say, hey, we're going to go pilot our own thing. And Ben can tell you this, like not only that, but to buy your own roaster and start roasting your own beans. Like you became a roaster overnight, like a master roaster, like CJ's roasting beans. And they're serving every day out of their stands. Like, no, who does that, Ben? Like nobody does that. Nobody buys that. Like nobody opens their first stand indie coffee chain of their own and a roaster within the same time window and opens those two things like at the same time and succeeds at it. Like Ben, I don't know how many you, I haven't met anybody else like that have done that. So like super big kudos to you, see John,
Well,
just brave steps you've taken.
So I'm using that roaster tomorrow morning. But what I want people to hear on that, it's not about us. It's just that they can do that too. And it doesn't have to be coffee. I was put on this earth, and Lindsay was similar. We were put on this earth, generally speaking, to help wake people up to who they really are. And then unleash that onto the world. Because the world's never seen the likes of this, what this girl's going to do, what this guy's going to do, what this couple can do together, whatever the case is, what our employees can do as a result of feeling that. That gives me goosebumps even saying it to you right now. So we use coffee as the way to get that done. Now, I happen to love coffee. I love the industry. I love the people in the industry. They're my people. So there's more to it than just saying we just use coffee. It feels like we don't like coffee, or it's not like that. I love coffee, but coffee is the medium. I swear I could sell used tires. I don't want to, but I could sell used tires, have the same mission, and probably do pretty well. At least make it financially. I think I could. I think I could sell steel. I could sell sheds. I don't know. Build something in there. If I have this mission, I think we could drive it. And that's what I want. I just wish this on people. I wish people to be centered enough, take the time to know what it is that makes them tick. I mean, how many people can say, I know I was put on this earth? That's not a criticism, but I want more people to be able to say that. There's so much not right in my life, and there's so many good things in my life that I was put on this earth to do.
Yeah.
Man, that's my guy. That's my gal. People that can say that and say it with boldness, and you believe it when you hear it, like, dang, those are my people. And that's what we aim for our baristas to say about their own lives. Not, we know they're not going to stay with us forever. Some of them, we do have 3 that have been with us the whole time, which we're pretty proud of. But, the rest have moved on. I want people to feel that emotion, that tug, and whatever they do. And then they go do it, because you find yourself, once you're there, then you go buy a roaster and you call a guy in Idaho, which I did, and say, I've never roasted before. It's like, what the heck? I mean, what am I doing here with all these experts? And I felt so stupid. And I started roasting. Never even seen a roaster, literally.
Yeah.
And I had already bought it.
And we put it in your garage. Bottom line, I think that's the inspiring stuff, Siege. So I know we're about out of time. I just want to say, man, Ben and I both, I feel like we talk to a lot of people. We help a lot of people with coffee, but they're those ones that we don't like to tell everybody, but they're kind of our favorites. And just Outsider is one of those ones where it's just like some of our favorite people. So grateful to be in league with you and Lynn's. So grateful to be able to have done the things that we've done that have been the good, the bad, and the ugly, all of it rolled together. And that's what makes us love each other so much. And I know Ben would say the same. So
yeah, thank you. We feel the same way about you guys. And we're just getting warmed up, all of us. You guys too. I mean, we haven't seen anything yet. So, that's the joy. We keep marching forward and celebrating what we have in the process, but keep marching forward. And I get to do it with you guys. Grateful.
Thanks, man. Well, thanks for hanging out with us today on Coffee Experts. Ben, I totally dominated the whole thing. You've got to stop me. But CJ, man, lots of love for you. Thanks for joining us on Coffee Experts Club. We'll see you guys next week on Coffee Experts.
Thanks so much for joining us today. For those of you who are looking to become a coffee expert yourself, we offer an incredible, thorough training online for opening your first coffee drive-thru at www.myfirstdrivethru.coffee.